Welcome to Heat Pumps for Landlords, What You Need to Know, co-sponsored by the City of Worcester, Green Energy Consumers Alliance, and the Worcester Community Action Council. Your presenters today are myself, Loie Hayes with Green Energy Consumers Alliance, Richard Justice from Worcester Community Action Council, Gabrielle Hadros of the City of Worcester, and Jesse Davis from the City of Worcester. And we're going to cover what Worcester is doing regarding sustainability and resilience, the income eligible upgrade options, heat pump basics, design options, costs, incentives, and then we'll have time for your questions and answers. I'm going to turn it over to Jesse and Gabby.
Thanks, Loie. Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse Davis, the Sustainability Project Manager for the City of Worcester's Department of Sustainability and Resilience. Thanks again to Loie and Green Energy Consumers Alliance for co-hosting today's webinar with us. We're really excited to be partnering with them and to have the chance to connect with so many landlords around here. We also want to thank our close partners at the Worcester Community Action Council, who we work with regularly on energy efficiency programs, and you'll be hearing from them next. Before we jump into today's main topic, I want to talk for a minute about the background on Worcester's sustainability and resilience work, just to give you some context for what you're going to hear today. I'll start with a quick overview of our department and the role that we play. Then we'll introduce the program that we run that directly supports property owners and landlords, especially around energy efficiency programs and heat pumps. Our goal today is to give you a solid intro to heat pumps, but also to let you know that we're here as an ongoing resource whenever questions come up for you in the future. So as you can see here, our Green Worcester plan was finalized in 2021 after 2 years of planning and community engagement. It's our city's roadmap to becoming one of the greenest mid-sized cities in the country by 2050, and it guides everything we do in our Department of Sustainability and Resilience. The plan covers a lot from energy, waste, water, and lots more. But at its core, it's shaped by 3 big priorities, or what we call our guiding lenses. The first is equity. Everyone in Worcester deserves a safe, healthy, and comfortable home, and a voice in shaping their environment. The second is health. Our policies aim to improve both indoor and outdoor air quality and avoid causing harm. The third is prosperity. Sustainable choices should also create economic opportunity, lowering costs, supporting jobs, and helping property owners invest wisely. Heat pumps, our focus today, are a great example of how all of these values really come together. They can make homes more comfortable and healthier for tenants, and they also help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And with the right incentives that we have available today, they really can be a smart financial move for landlords. I'll pass it to Gabby now.
Hey everyone, you can just go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabrielle Hadros. I'm the energy advocate for the City of Worcester, and I work on our Smart Energy Advice program. Our program is run through the Department of Sustainability and Resilience within the city, and we offer a wide variety of services to help advocate for you and help you through the process of what you might be eligible for in terms of energy efficiency. The program is aimed at helping people navigate through the Mass Save programs, understanding their energy bill, the city's municipal aggregation program, access to related resources, and we also offer one-on-one office hours where people can come and meet with me and I can help them address all their energy efficiency needs. The Smart Energy Advice program is primarily funded through the Mass Save Community First Partnership. So our goals are really to serve underserved populations in the area through the sponsorship of the local utilities. So thank you. You can go to the next slide, and I'm going to pass it over to Rich.
Thanks, Gabby. I'm Rich Justice. I'm the Energy Director here at Worcester Community Action Council. I want to thank you both for having us and inviting us here to the webinar. I think this is a great opportunity for everyone to learn about heat pumps and then also learn about the options available in Worcester to obtain air source heat pumps affordably. If you want to go to the next slide. So who we are and what we do. Worcester Community Action Council is the designated CAP agency for Worcester County. We represent a variety of income eligible programs to all of Worcester County's income eligible population. One of our biggest programs in our energy department is providing and installing energy efficiency upgrades to income eligible clients at no cost, including air source heat pumps. We are able to provide these services to landlords' properties at no cost, thanks to a variety of federal funds and utility funds. So as you're learning about heat pumps from Lowy, I want to make sure that I provide you an opportunity to learn the options available in Worcester to landlords of income eligible tenants. To qualify for our programs, your tenants would need to carry the discounted rate on their utility bill that is connected to the unit's primary heating source. If you aren't sure if your property qualifies and you are interested, don't hesitate to reach out to our intake specialist whose information is listed below, and we can verify the eligibility for the unit. We would need the landlord's info as well as the tenant's name, address, and the utility account numbers to verify. If you want to go to the next slide. If your property does qualify for the income eligible programs, we will then send out one of our DOE certified energy auditors who will assess all potential energy efficiency upgrades, including appliances, windows, water heaters, heating systems, and in particular, the main reason we're all here today, air source heat pumps. We even have funds set aside to cover no cost pre-weatherization barriers like knob and tube, leak in roofs, vermiculite, and even mold. For the properties interested in air source heat pumps, we personally handle all aspects of the process from start to finish, starting with assigning one of our heating specialists and contractors to do a full design walkthrough of the property, as well as providing follow-up visits at the beginning of the installation, and then a quality control visit at the end, ensuring the quality work. So I'll be sticking around at the end to answer any questions you guys might have for the income eligible programs. And at this time, I will pass it over to Lowy.
Sorry, that's all right. I didn't get my connections corrected there. So Lowy Hayes, Green Energy Consumers Alliance. My colleague Amanda Barker is also on the line. It can help you with any technical questions. If you have them, just put them in the chat or the Q&A. And we will be making time at the end of this for some live Q&A, as well as answering questions during the presentation if we can, doing that in written form for you. So Green Energy Consumers Alliance is a nonprofit. We work in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. We're all about helping consumers, advocating for consumers and communities as we're all transitioning to a post-fossil fuel world. That's all right. Clearly, I've got a little trouble on my controls. There we go. So let's start with some level setting here, heat pump basics. Heat pump is just the same technology as an air conditioner or a refrigerator, except it can run in reverse. So a heat pump can grab heat from your home and push it to the outside, just like an air conditioner does and just like a refrigerator does. But it can also reverse and capture heat from outside and bring it inside. With the same equipment, it just flips a switch to reverse. What you see pictured here is a ductless mini split. And note that there's no air exchange between inside and outside. It's just the refrigerant line that breaks the wall between outside and inside. So some considerations about design. Outdoor condensers do need space. In particular, they need to be up on a stand to prevent ice blocking the airflow through that outside unit. And they can fit in a pretty tight space. I've seen them, in the little alleyway between two buildings. In this illustration, you've got one condenser serving each unit in this triple decker. The condenser has one line of refrigerant that goes up the one side of the house. There's a refrigerant line that goes across the basement ceiling and then comes up the other side to serve the other side of the house. So you can do them in tight spaces. There are also ground source or geothermal heat pumps as well. This is where the heat is being extracted or dumped into the ground instead of the air. They're more efficient because the temperature under the ground stays a nice 55 degrees or so. These can be either a vertical or a horizontal loop. In a tight urban area, a vertical loop is preferable, and they can get into a space that's even like a 10-foot wide driveway if the backyard has enough space for the drilling equipment to go. We're mostly going to focus on the air source in this webinar. So we're talking about two different types of home. Either you have ductwork now or you don't have ductwork now. One moment. So if you have ductwork, you have a furnace, not a boiler. Oftentimes that hot air ductwork can be repurposed for a heat pump, a central heat pump system. Obviously, you do need an HVAC technician to come in and scope that ductwork to make sure it's adequately sized, insulated, etc. If you have a boiler, but you have central air conditioning, you may also be able to use that central AC ductwork for a heat pump. Again, technician needs to evaluate that. Pardon me, dry throat. If your home lacks ductwork, you have a boiler, a hot water system. There are some hydronic heat pumps. The installers are fewer in number, and the products are still coming online, still becoming commercially available. New products are becoming commercially available all the time. So you can explore that option, but you would need more time, more persistence to find contractors to give you bids for that. A good alternative to a hydronic system that most people with a boiler would choose is either a ductless mini split or a mini ducted unit. And these come in a variety of types. The indoor types, the wall hung unit, high on a wall, is the most common type. There are floor mounted units, there are ceiling cassettes. These are a little more expensive to, particularly the ceiling cassette is a little more expensive to install, but it may be a good solution if you have an attic where HVAC technicians could work. The floor mounted unit may be a good solution on a first floor where, again, you have the basement to work in to be able to bring the refrigerant lines up to it. I want to make a special note about sizing the equipment. This is very important. And some people have had problems with systems that were oversized. So to illustrate this question, we're going to posit this is a 2-bedroom unit. It's got cathedral ceilings in the living room. And a technician has calculated the heat load at 24,000 BTUs per hour. This is also called a 2-ton system. A ton of heating capacity is 12,000 BTUs per hour. And you could provide that 24,000 BTUs in a single unit that goes in your central living area. This would be like you have a home that has a wood stove, and that's your sole heating. That would mean the bedrooms are cooler in winter and warmer in summer. It may be fine if you have ceiling fans in these rooms. That's one option. What we want to warn you against is when you have a heat load of 24,000 BTUs and a contractor comes in and says, oh, I'll stick a 9,000 BTU head in each of these rooms in order to have perfect temperature control in every room. The problem is that gives you a total capacity of 36,000 BTUs. It's way more equipment than you need. And the problem with too much equipment is that it will come up to temperature quickly, and then it will have to shut off because it can't get any further in that direction without making you uncomfortable. And then temperature will come down and it will have to come on again. Heat pumps are designed to work continuously like a flywheel for greatest efficiency. And when they turn on and off, well, when they turn on is when they're using a lot of energy to come up to temperature. So a system that is oversized will modulate too much and be too expensive to run. And also in the summer, you could have a comfort problem because the dehumidification takes longer than the cooling. These bedrooms would get cool very quickly. The systems would shut off, but they would still be clammy because the dehumidification process didn't complete. So you want to really avoid oversizing. And to do that, you want to get a good heat load calculation, or at least a strong heat load estimate that you feel confident in. Now, here's another potential solution to this house. We mentioned mini ducted systems. So here you've got a 12,000 BTU in your open living area, and you've got a 12,000 that you're splitting between the two bedrooms. Either you've got this air handler in the attic or in the basement with small mini ducts dividing the capacity between the two. These can be either on two separate condensers, so you have two total different zones, or it can be all one system. The head can be up to 150 feet from the condenser. What about the costs? Of course, you want to weatherize first. That's your ticket to be able to access incentives. You won't be able to access unless you've had a mass save energy assessment, or if you have a multifamily that is 5 units or above, you go through the multifamily program. But the multifamily program could enable you to get the same whole home incentives that are designed for the 1 through 4 units, if those 5+ units each have their own separate HVAC systems. Many older homes have pre-weatherization barriers, as Rich mentioned, moisture, older wiring, asbestos or vermiculite. All of those, there are pre-weatherization incentives, both for residential and commercial properties. And again, you have to get that home energy assessment so that Mass Save knows how to appropriately account for the savings that would be generated by your making this switch, so that they can release the funds for your rebates. The installation costs, let's look quickly at comparing oil, gas, and a heat pump. Oil and gas are going to be in the neighborhood of 9,000 to 13,000. Of course, with oil, you do have to build in the tank replacement cost, on the life cycle of the equipment. And know that Mass Save has ended all their incentives for gas and oil equipment, except for the low income program, if you qualify, if your tenants qualify for that. Now with the ductless air source, yes, the equipment is more expensive up front. In Rich's experience, 20,000 to 25,000 for a whole house. Estimates vary greatly. I've had a quote for my apartment, which is 1,250 square feet, and the quote came in at around 15,000. So, it really depends on the house. But if we're thinking about the 20 to 25,000 estimate, yes, it's higher, but there are incentives. For instance, the whole home incentive is that $3,000 per ton. So if you needed a 3-ton system for your house, that's kind of an average for Massachusetts. You'd be getting $9,000 off of that. There is a partial home heat pump rate if, for instance, your had one zone that wasn't performing correctly and you wanted to add a heat pump in that zone, you'd get that partial heat pump. There is a moderate income rebate that's even larger. That's $16,000 for moderate income households. And as Rich mentioned, the low income incentive could be completely free if your tenants qualify, etc. I will be sending out this recording and these slides to everyone, so you can click through on these links when you get that file. Now, many homes will need to have an electrical upgrade because you're adding more to your electrical load. You need to bring more electricity into the building. And for many homes, that'll be a 200 amp service that you're looking for. Rich estimates between 5,000 and 6,000 in the Worcester area. I've seen quotes for less, and certainly it could be more. And in this instance, you see the meters on the inside of the basement. Code now requires them on the outside, etc. There is some incentives for that. There's the federal energy efficiency home improvement credit, which allows a tax credit of $600 in an owner-occupied property if you're going to add a heat pump or a heat pump water heater. There's also a Mass Save EV charging rebate if you add a charging equipment at the same time. And that's fairly generous depending on the size of the house and, again, the income eligibility of the occupants. There's a great energy savings rebate finder now, incentive of all types. It'll tell you the federal tax credits and the rebates, etc. And the URL is here in the slides. You'll see it when you get it. Operating costs, of course, is the other big thing that you need to factor in. And I'll show you two slides. This first one is using this most recent winter's data as compiled by the Department of Energy Resources and averaging all the prices across the state to get average for these different types of fuels. Electric resistance and propane, we're going to disregard those because those are obviously going to be your most expensive operating costs. Last winter, gas, heat pumps, and heating oil were all very close together. The heat pump was slightly more, but these dark skinny bars indicate the range in different parts of the state. So if you were in a state, in part of the state that had a low electrical cost, your heat pump use was actually saving you money compared to gas or heating oil. So it really depended on what your electric rate was. And that brings me to the next slide, which talks about this coming season, this coming winter heating season. We will have seasonal heat pump rates, which are discounted for heat pump users in National Grid, Eversource, Unitil areas. You'll see 3 charts on this. The first one is using the current rates. The second is what we know will happen in the coming heating season. And the third is a further discount rate proposed, and that will be up for debate in the coming year. So looking at the current default rates, on the right side, you see the red bars are homes that would have paid more if they had switched to heat pumps. And on the left, the green bars indicate those that would have saved if they had switched to heat pumps. And last winter, only 45% of Massachusetts homes would have saved. With the coming heat pump seasonal discount for heat pump users, a full 64% of homes would save if they switched to heat pumps. And with the proposed rates from the Interagency Rates Working Group, 82% will save if they switch to heat pumps. So this is a really important change in Massachusetts, and will make a big difference for us landlords. I'm a landlord myself. Us landlords who are considering installing heat pumps in our tenanted units. What are the maintenance costs that you need to be aware of as you think about heat pumps? Primarily, it's cleaning that air filter. This is an air system, so there's always going to be an air filter. This is either at the head in your apartment or in the basement, where the air handler is in the basement. These air filters get dirty and need to be cleaned. This is a pretty quick cleaning process. Oftentimes you do this seasonally. It could be done more frequently in a house with, say, a lot of cats or something. The other big important thing is the outside unit does need to have snow cleared away from it. If we're getting a snowpocalypse year, you're going to need to have the condenser, you need to get out there with a shovel and make sure snow is not building up so that ice doesn't encase the unit and restrict the airflow. You can do a checkup every 2 to 3 years with a professional. I've lived with a heat pump for many years and didn't do this on nearly this schedule, but certainly it's similar to a gas system in terms of that checkup being a precautionary measure every few years. Now, to prevent mold, you do want to tell the occupants that in the summertime when the shoulder season, spring and fall, when you use the heat pump some days and you turn it off other days, you want to run the fan when you're turning it off for a period until the inside of the machine is able to come up to room temperature and all the moisture has been wicked away by the fan pulling air through that unit coming up to room temperature, so that there's no condensation that's left in the machine when you turn it off on a beautiful, nice day and you can open the windows. If mold is discovered in the machine, you can hire a company to do a deep cleaning. I did that at a building that I owned one time, and they came in and had it done in a relatively short amount of time and cleaned up, and it was not a problem. Certainly, it was a cost, but not insurmountable. So let's move on to the incentives. There's several layers: federal, state, utility, and then various loans. The federal tax credit will now expire at the end of this year. It is for owner-occupieds only, and it's up to $3,200 of your post-incentive costs, and various things can qualify for this incentive. It's up to $2,000 specifically for heat pumps or heat pump water heaters. And as I mentioned, there's that electrical upgrade when you're installing a heat pump or a heat pump water heater, $600 for that. And there's doors and windows and things like that you can get credits for, a total of $3,200 per year. If you're considering a geothermal system or battery or solar, the tax credit is also $30,000 post-incentive, but there's no cap. So it could be a much larger incentive, a much larger tax credit. Again, that ends this year. 179D is for commercial properties of 4 stories or more. And I've got some links in here to follow up on that. Now, federal rebates, you may have heard the Inflation Reduction Act created federal rebates for energy efficiency programs. That money has gone out to various states. It hasn't yet come to Massachusetts. We are hoping the federal government will release those funds and that Massachusetts will be able to start releasing those funds to consumers this fall. This will be particularly if and when the funding comes, this will be particularly useful for properties in the municipal light plant districts, because some of those have not had very robust energy efficiency funding, and this will supplement those and expand those. There are some other rebates as well but those are through existing avenues that you already may know about if they're pertinent to you. And it just expands the amount of money available to those programs. If you do live in a municipal light plant, you do want to follow this link, this DOER federal funding updates and information on mass.gov. You can put in your email address and they will let you know when that program announces. And obviously we'll be promoting that as well. And Worcester advisors will know about that as well, certainly. So again, just to stress, all the Massachusetts incentives are vary according to the number of people in the household, the number of units in the building, the household income, the zip code where the property is located. I want to give an example of a two-person household from Worcester. Low income is just defined as roughly 64,000 and below, and Worcester CSC will completely cover the cost of heat pump installation. Moderate income for a two-person household, roughly 85,000 and above. And that is, moderate income is between 64,000 and 85,000 roughly. And that's called the enhanced incentive, and it's $16,000 per apartment or home. So you could get 3 of those if you owned a 3-unit apartment building and all of the tenants qualified as moderate income. The market rate program is for above that moderate income, and that's the 10,000 per apartment or home that we spoke of earlier. Heat pump water heaters, for those of you who have a boiler with indirect water heating connected to that boiler, you would also obviously then need to figure out what you're going to do for hot water heat. There is an incentive for heat pump water heaters. This is the hybrid model, where the heat pump is sitting right above the storage tank. These are 2 to 3 times more efficient than any other tank equipment. You do need adequate space for the air exchange. You don't put this in a small utility closet. It does need a 240-volt circuit. It does need a condensate drain, and it will make that basement space cooler as well as drier. Now, if that's a problem because you have other uses in the basement and you don't want it to be cooler, you can get a split system heat pump water heater where the air exchange is outside. This part of it is outside the building. The tank is in your basement still, but that air exchange is happening outside, so there's not a cooling effect or a drying effect for that matter. The incentive is larger because the equipment is more expensive. There is a larger federal tax credit with no cap on that federal tax credit. Efficiency Maine has a great little water heating cost comparison tool, so we would recommend that. Next steps before we wrap up. Definitely get that home energy assessment if you have not had one in the last 2 years, and do install any of the insulation and air sealing that they recommend. That'll save you money on the equipment purchase as well as the operating costs. You want to research the incentive and loan programs, figure out which would apply to your particular property, and speak with the Worcester Energy Advocates Office. You can make, an office appointment or just call directly. Really avail yourself of those opportunities. And get multiple perspectives once you start getting the bids, even before potentially. Mass Save offers decarbonization consultations. These are really independent people who are very knowledgeable, and you can share quotes with them. You can share your floor plan. You can talk about, all the different options, ducted, not ducted, et cetera. And you'll get a very knowledgeable opinion from them. Energy Sage, you may know them already as a solar source. They also have a heat pump marketplace, and they do, once you register, you're able to have chats, voicemails, Zoom calls, etc., with their energy advisors, and you can compare quotes with them and get their independent advice as well. I do recommend that you really research the installers even before you start calling. The Mass Save program has the heat pump installer network. To order to qualify for the incentive, they need to be on that list. And Mass Save is going to be coming out with a two-tier list. Currently, there's just a one-tier list, but they're going to release a two-tier list with a higher qualification that you can find on that list as well. The Energy Saver Home Loan Program that I mentioned also has a contractor list. Even if you don't qualify for the program, you can access that contractor list and compare who's on that list with also who's on the Mass Save list and find more qualified installers. Check the contractors' websites. Read their descriptions. Do they talk about heat pumps just as an air conditioning solution? Or do they talk about it as a heating solution? You definitely want somebody who's knowledgeable about equipment that provides heating, not just air conditioning. And once you find out what equipment a contractor installs, say they do LG and Fujitsu, you can go on to those manufacturers' websites. You can say, find a contractor near me. You can see what the contractor's rating is on their scale. Are they platinum? Are they gold? Are they silver? Are they elite, etc.? And the higher the ranking on that manufacturer's website, the more experience the contractor will have. You do want to get 3 quotes. Heat pumps come in all varieties and types. And again, 2 contractors may come up with different heat load calculations. You want to be able to compare those and again, get that independent advice once you have those quotes to really make sure you're confident in the people that you're choosing to work with. And do avail yourself of our website as well for answering your FAQs, looking at videos, etc. Questions ask your heat pump installers. Definitely, are they a Mass Save approved vendor? Or if you're going through an MLP, are they approved for the incentives through the MLP? What kind of maintenance do they recommend of the equipment that they provide? Are they able to provide that maintenance? What's their maintenance schedule? What's their maintenance charges? Will you formally calculate my heat load, or will you just estimate it? And can we discuss heat load, your heat load estimate or calculation before I sign a contract to purchase equipment from you and have it installed? Are you able to remove my old heating system? What's the cost of that, if there's any extra cost of that? Who's responsible for submitting the rebate paperwork? Are you the contractor going to take responsibility for that? Are you going to take that off of that? Are you going to have that rebate come to you? And so you're going to charge me less, or are you going to charge me the full price and then the rebate will come to me? You want to be explicit about all of these things. And we've moved through these slides very quickly, but we wanted to leave time for a question and answer. And our contact information is here. You can certainly follow up with us afterwards in writing or by calling if you'd like. And I'll turn it over to Jesse and Gabi for handling the questions.
Thank you, Loie. That was great. So we do have a few questions in the chat, and of course, we'll keep taking them as they come in until the end of the hour. So the first one is, will you eventually be doing a webinar for larger buildings? I live in a 30-unit building that is all on one HVAC system. Should we even be considering heat pumps, or should we be looking at geothermal?
That's a great question. I will not be doing a large buildings webinar. That's out of my knowledge base. But I recommend the Mass Save Multifamily Program. And I'm betting that you can access the Mass Save consultations as well to get advice on that. With a 30-unit building, yes, geothermal makes a lot of sense, replacing that single system with a geothermal. That's what a lot of larger buildings are able to do.
Thanks. Yeah, Diane, we're in a similar position. Our program doesn't go up to 30 units, but there are certainly resources available on the Mass Save website. And if you have trouble finding it, you can always email us and we'll find someone to direct you to. Our email is here, energyadvice@worcesterma.gov. So if you get lost, feel free to email us and we can try to help you out with that too.
And just a reminder, I don't
go
know if
ahead.
Rich is going to jump in on this, but in any multi-unit building, you want to know what percentage of the units would qualify for the low income program or for the enhanced incentive. Because if 50% or more of the units are considered low income, then Rich can help you with that entire project. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rich.
I also know with large multifamilies, there are a lot of other factors that go into that assessment. So you might not need to know the individual income of each unit. The multifamily program works a little bit differently on that scale. Rich, you can add in, of course. Sorry, I saw you.
That's what I
unmute
was going to
yourself.
say. So us at the local cap agencies will handle up to 4 families. So Loa, you're right. So if you had a 4-family or a standard triple decker in Worcester, as long as 50% of that property was income eligible, we would be able to serve 100% of that building, even the market rate clients with heat pumps with all energy efficiency work. Anything over 4 families, we do have what is termed our lean multifamily program, which kind of runs hand in hand with some of the Mass Save stuff, but we would defer them straight out to Boston to be part of that lean multifamily program.
Great. Thank you both. The next question is from James and Lo. You might need to go back to the slide where you're talking about the new heat pump discount rates, because this person's referring to the quote savings past, present, and future. Where are the savings coming from? Is it reduced investment costs, lower electricity rates? Sorry, I'm confused.
Yes, the savings referred to in this are operating cost savings. So the occupant's total energy bill would be reduced by switching to a heat pump, depending on where they fall on this spectrum. In general, gas heated homes are less likely to save money by switching to heat pumps than are oil and propane and electric resistance. Electric resistance and propane will definitely reduce their operating costs by switching to a heat pump now, even with the existing rates. Oil and gas, oil, it really depends on that season's cost because that cost is so variable. And for gas, it is more often than not not going to be cost effective given last winter's cost. But given this coming winter's electricity rates, even more gas heated homes will start saving. This is the question of whether your particular unit will save if it's switching from gas to heat pump is a good question to pose to the Mass Save decarbonization consultants, because they have a technical expertise in being able to factor in all sorts of variables, the specific weather conditions for that zip code, the specific home design, the architectural considerations, even the equipment being considered. So that's still a gray area, but an increasing number of even gas heated homes will start saving this coming fall.
Right. Yeah. So it is the electricity rates. Thanks, James. Good question. Thanks, Lily. Next one is, how will CAP agencies coordinate their weatherization and electrification work with Mass Save's multifamily programs for low to moderate income households? How can towns in Massachusetts support their work? Are you able to answer that, Rich?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. It says Gabby. I misread that. Did you want to answer that,
Oh,
Gabby,
no,
or
sorry. I was just marking it as being answered live.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead, Rich.
Sure, I'll answer to what I think the question is. So we are set up as a cap agency to work with Mass Save. We do come across certain what we call mixed income residents where we would need to work with them. What we do is we have brought in 50, 60, 70 contractors, I think, total right now through WCAC, that most of them are Mass Save certified also. So we work with people at Mass Save to come together and work through that. If that was the main question.
Great. Mark, if that doesn't answer your question, feel free to write another and we can follow up on that. The next question is, how are condos treated if a unit that is rented is located in a building with greater than 15 units in the association? Can anyone answer that?
Condos are typically pretty tricky just because you need multiple levels of approval to make upgrades because it technically is multiple owners within one building. So it depends on usually if the entire association is willing to do the upgrades at the same time. And sometimes the building doesn't qualify for the massive incentives depending on how the HVAC system is set up. So I would say that's really on a case-by-case basis. But I would definitely recommend emailing us and giving us more information so that we could try to get you a solid answer for that.
Great, thanks. It looks like Rich is typing in the chat about the water heater question, so I'll hold off on that one. So yes, James, to your question, are declining heat pump operational costs due to expected lower electrical rates? So the discount rate is for heat pump users, which would mean your electrical rate is discounted. That's what Loie was explaining earlier. Feel free to add in if that is still confusing. The next question is
Hey,
it
Jesse,
better? Oh yeah.
Can I jump in? Because I think that water heater question might be in a lot of people's minds something similar.
Okay, let me just read it out loud
water-
just so everyone knows what it is before you answer it. Okay, so the question is, if my water heater is in my laundry room, not in my basement, is it not advised to have a heat pump water heater? My cellar is low ceiling and damp. I'm not sure I can put a water heater there without additional pipes. Okay, go ahead, Rich.
So the heat pump water heaters, going back to Loie's slide, is something you have to think about. They are very efficient. They will do great if you put them in the right setting. The tricks with them is it needs typically 700 to 1,000 square feet of air around it to provide it enough airflow. And also they are almost 6 feet tall. So depending on where you're trying to put them, you need space around them. And then also the typical standard heat pump water heater is also going to be removing the heat from the air. So you don't want to put that into a living space. So I believe by this question and not in the basement, that's indicating that it's somewhat of a heated space. It's a living space. And you don't want that to make that area colder, especially when you're trying to.
There is the split heat pump water heater that you could consider for that instance, where the tank is shorter and the cooling that happens is happening outside, so it doesn't affect your basement area. That could go in a utility closet.
Okay. The next question is,
Oh, and Jesse, do you want
Yeah.
to launch the poll again?
this is the last question we have, so I figure maybe we'll do this question, and then do the poll after.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So, is it better to look into getting solar and heat pumps together?
Yes. The heat pump is running on electricity, and if you own the means of production for that electricity, your operating costs will definitely be much lower than if you have to purchase that electricity from somebody else who needs to make a profit on supplying it to you. And that federal rebate for solar is still in effect until the end of this year. And there are various financing options for solar that would allow you to, wrap in the cost of electrical upgrades, et cetera, all in one package. Obviously, then it is a bigger chunk of change that you need to finance, but together, the solar and the heat pump would yield lower operating costs, for the lifetime of the equipment. So definitely a good thing if you can do it.
And did you mention that the home energy savers loan also helps with solar? I'm sorry if I missed that.
I don't think I specified that, but
Okay.
yes, it does. The Energy Saver Home Loan Program covers solar.
Yeah, which is great. It's a new thing, so that's why I want to make sure people heard about that. So James, another question about the heat pump rates. I'm going to take another stab at it, see if maybe I understand it, and if not, I'll pass it to Loie. James said, I'm totally puzzled as how National Grid knows how to monitor electricity powering a heat pump. So I think your question is getting at how does National Grid know that a home is using heat pumps? They go by who has received rebates or if someone applies for it. They don't know which house is using them otherwise. That's my understanding. Is that yours, Loie?
Yes, and also the discount applies to all of your electricity used during the winter months. They don't break out and say, oh, we're going to
Right.
discount the amount that you used for your heat pump. It's just, the winter month starts and your rate goes down. The winter months end, your rate goes back to the regular rate.
Okay, last question. I've heard that CAP agencies have practical limits on how many homes they're able to address. Will Mass Save therefore be addressing most low to moderate income homes? How can our town help our local CAP agency or Mass Save to ramp up homes addressed? Are you able to answer that, Rich?
Sure. So I think for cap agency purposes, we do have a lot of different funds coming in. The funds coming in are very robust for the next couple of years. I think just in the last couple of years, we average almost $15 million of energy efficiency work in Worcester County. We have yet to run out, so the programs are there. How everybody can help the local caps is just make sure that you get the information in. Make sure you know what you're looking for. If you're going to go with heat pumps, access all the local programs. There's different agencies that have different programs available. Just make sure you get used to all those programs.
Yeah, and I would just add, if you're not in Worcester, I would replicate Worcester's model, where you have an energy advisor on staff that people can reach out to do promotion in the community, particularly around the enhanced incentive that 60% of area median income or state median income to 80%. Let people know that Mass Save does have extra funding for that category. That's kind of been the donut hole and been hard to serve for many decades now.
Thank you. We wanted to relaunch the poll. Amanda, do you want to do that? Maybe I'll pass it to Amanda since we're done with the Q&A and she can wrap things up, or Loie, either of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I can wrap up. So please do take this poll. If you didn't get a chance to take it before, feel free to take it again, so that we know who is in the room and what is the best information to share with everybody in our follow-up. We will be sending out a link to this recording, which we will put up on our YouTube channel, the Green Energy Consumers Alliance YouTube channel, and we'll send out a copy of these slides, and any other information, links, etc., that we think are useful to people. And we're happy to follow up with people offline, by calling us or by sending us an email. I'll leave there's the contact information. So thanks so much.